What up, YouTube? Agent Persuasion here with my boy Slim.
You already know.
Doing YCS Salt Lake profiles. We're here with the top 8 duelists.
Tamir Brown.
Tamir Brown?
Tamir Brown.
Tamir Brown. Alright. And then, I was like, Tiara? That's Infernoid. I'm thinking of Infernoids. And you were playing what deck today, bro?
We're playing 60 card PK Fire.
Bro. The Rogue Warrior himself is here in front of us. Let's hail in this moment. Alright, man. Let's get into this profile, bro.
Alright, so for the main deck, we got the hand traps. We did 3 Ash and then 3 Ghost Ogre. The only other hand trap I would even think to even play would be the Cherries, because I did play a lot of Pendulum decks today, but I thought this was pretty good just in the main deck.
That's going to get you through the Swiss rounds.
Yeah. Then for the Phantom Knights, we got Silent Boots. This is your searcher for Fogblade. Fogblade's your effect negator.
Yeah. People forgot about this, man. It's been a couple years since we've seen PK Fire cards.
Then we got Ancient Cloak. In this deck, he only searches the monsters, the Phantom Knight monsters, because even though he says Phantom Knight card, something I learned a long time ago the hard way, it says it has to say the Phantom Knights, and all the monsters say the Phantom Knights, but the Fogblade just says Phantom Knight Fogblade. Oh, because it just doesn't say the.
Just because that the wasn't there.
Right?
So now we knew what they were doing.
Then we just played the 1 Ragged Gloves. He puts both the other, your Fogblade or your other Phantom Knight monsters in the graveyard. If you want to put Fogblade in the grave to special summon another Phantom Knight, you can do that, or you can put Boots into the grave to search your trap, or you can put Ancient Cloak into the grave to search out another Phantom Knight monster.
Yeah.
Then we main decked 4 Kaijus.
Ooh, yeah.
Main reason I even played this one was because he's an Allure of Darkness target.
Yeah, that's pretty good actually. Synergy, man.
Spice, there we go. No, this is the spice right here.
Spicy tech. We played 3 Galaxy Wars.
Is that in the hell?
Every opponent must have been like that.
I actually, almost every person I played this card against was like, wait, what does this do? Or what is that card?
Did they read it, every one of them?
Yeah, they all had to pull it over and just like, like, what does this card even do? Like, essentially it's a neutered tour guide.
Neutered tour guide. That's the best way to put a Galaxy Worm.
Like, not quite as good as Tour Guide, because Tour Guide can search Rhino Warrior or all your other BA monsters, but you have to use these on each other.
Yeah.
But essentially you're playing a 4, or I play 5 1-card Dantes.
Yeah, which is always good.
Then we got the 1 Tour Guide, summon Rhino Warrior or any of your BAs.
Yeah.
Then we had the Crane. I put this guy in because he's also a 1-card Dante, but also he dodges Ash Blossom because it targets the graveyard, not the deck. So you can also recycle like your Seer or any of your other BAs that you need to bring back. Then we have the 2 Rhino Warriors. A nice combo you can do with this card if you only open up him and 1 other BA monster, as long as it's not Graph or Seer. You can still make Beatrice with just this card and 1 other BA monster, as long as it's not the other 2 I just said. You go summon Rhino Warrior, special summon your BA, and then you go into Dante. Dante send this mill 3. Then this will send Graph, special summon Seer, and then you go into Underclock Taker, the Link monster. Then Seer and Dante will activate. They can target each other. Seer will bring back Dante. Dante, you get Seer back into your hand, and now you can summon Beatrice.
Oh my god, that's crazy. 2-card Beatrice.
Yeah, 2-card Beatrice.
2-card Beatrice.
Then we got the Fairy Tale Snow. This is usually going to be your main target to send off of the Beatrice. A lot of times, as soon as my opponent's turn started, when I had the Beatrice on board, normally you would just wait to send Farfa, but instead I just, right off the standby phase, I would send this Fairy Tale Snow, because you still have your 1 interruption. And in case, like, the reason why I did it before the main phase is because I did notice some people were main decking Kaijus.
Oh yeah.
So I wanted to keep, not be greedy, just have at least 1 interruption. So just right away send the Fairy Tale Snow. Now we got the BA lineup. Skarm, he searches all your BAs and Tour Guide at the end phase. Something this actually was able to dodge. A lot of the Draco players were playing that, what's it called, Amato Wado?
Oh, yeah, the Spirit Monster.
The Spirit Monster. So if this went to Graveyard while they had that on field, their effect is mandatory to go back to the hand. So what you do is you do not attempt to activate Scarm until after the Amadawato went back to the hand. So they would get rid of this thinking that I'm not going to search at the end phase, but the judge was like, do you have a optional effect that you would like to activate? I would say no, and then their mandatory effect would have to go back to their hand, and then it would just reset, then activate the Scarm.
Then you're searching the tour guide and
Yep.
TK the next turn, baby.
Getting around the rock.
Then we had triple Farfa. He's your interruption during your opponent's turn. If you have Beatrice, or also I played Mech-Quipped. Also could interrupt with Farfa during your opponent's turn, or even during your turn if you need to get rid of a problematic card. Just banish it, and then it's banished till the end phase.
That card banished my Minerva a lot back in the day.
Played 2 Libic. There have been times where I needed to send this to special summon a BA because I had a non-BA monster on board to still go into Dante. So he helps you to still go into Dante if you have a non-Burning Abyss monster on board. Then we got the 1 graph because it's at 1, sadly. Sad face. This guy special summons all your BA monsters. Then Seer, I'd say this is probably the best BA monster. Brings back all of them from grave, including Dante or even Virgil.
Yeah.
Barbar, I did burn a couple people for game today with this guy.
The old school, yep, Barbar for game.
Actually, I had Mech-Quipped on board with a Rhino underneath it, and my opponent had 1,700 life left. And he summoned out Minerva, and he milled the Trick Clown. He paid the 1,000, and he had 700 left. And then I activated Mech-Quipped. I guess he didn't know fully what it did. He just figured I'm only going to try to play defensively with it.
Yeah.
But then I just used the Rhino, send Barbar, and burn for game.
He died. Oh man, that's savage.
1 Rubik. I did get debarriered a couple times, but this helped me to get around that by going into Virgil. And then 1 Calcab, bounces back row back to hand. There was a time where I even used it on myself where I tried setting something as a bluff and I still couldn't use it. This got milled and I was able to put it back into my hand and then still special summon out my BA monsters because you have to control no back row to use it. Or special summon them. And that's it for the monster lineup. For the spells, we got 3 Desires for draw power.
Pot agreed at 3, baby.
Yep. Then for more draw power, we have triple Allure of Darkness. This is kind of helps with consistency because there have been times where I had maybe 1 BA or 1 Phantom Knight in hand or something, and then you just play Allure. If you draw the second Phantom Knight or the second BA, you just banish whatever one you don't need to still make your Dante. Then double Cyclone because we're playing against Pendulum and Draco, so
this card is just good overall.
Just gets, helps you with those matchups. Tech card. We played 1 emergency teleport.
Cosmos, baby, let's go. Summon Farm Girl.
So with this card, the reason why I put it in because I knew almost everybody's like main decking hand traps, especially Ash Blossom or Effect Veiler now. Yeah. If I normal summon the Galaxy Worm or the Tour Guide or even the any of my 1-card Dante cards and they somehow negate it, then you can activate the emergency teleport and go into Ghost Ogre because he's a level 3 psychic, and you can still go into your Dante.
Yeah, or Virgil too at that point.
Or even Virgil, also Virgil too because he's a tuner. Yep.
Savage.
1 Monster Reborn. After you've lost your Beatrice or something, this also brings back your Beatrice. Or if you need something to go into Dante still, just bring something back. Soul Charge. This helps me go into Skull Dread a lot. There have been times where my hand was pretty bad, but actually in my feature match, Skull Dread actually made my hand a lot better, and I was able to end with Beatrice on board and a set Magical Springs because I'm main decking Magical Springs.
Hell yeah.
And then we're playing 60 cards, so you got to play the grass is greener.
Yeah, it's always greener on the other side.
Right?
It's always greener.
Playing 4 Kaijus, so you got to play the Slumber. Because the deck mills a lot, you can, if you mill this card, you can still banish it during the next turn to search a Kaiju. Foolish Burial, because every monster is pretty much a graveyard effect. Regeki, just for board wipe. Then we main decked 1 Magical Springs.
There she is.
Now, at first I was main decking 2 because I knew that Draco and Pendulum were going to be a big portion of everybody that's at the tournament, but I also figured there was also going to be the what's the zombie dino deck?
Yeah, the 60 cards.
60, yeah, 60. I saw quite a few of those, so I figured if I draw into even one would be bad. But I was in my feature match. I played against Pendulum, and my Skull Dread drew me into this card. And when I had Beatrice on board with Skull Dread, and I had this and Fogblade set down, my opponent tried activating Cerberus, the mythical beast, in the scale. And as soon as I saw that it was a scale 4, I instantly activated Magical Springs. So now he cannot destroy it to special or add to his hand. I mean, and then because it's a scale 4, now he can't Pendulum summon a level 4 monster.
So they all got to be just super huge.
Yeah. So as soon as that happened, I immediately won game 1, and sadly. For him, I won the same way in game 3. I lost game 2 because he set up his board and I just couldn't get around it. But then game 3, I drew Magical Springs because I side decked into 2 more, so I had 3.
So he lost to that card.
Yep.
Not so happy.
Then we had the 3 Fog Blades. You're running Phantom Knights. Got to run the Fog Blade. It has several different uses. You can use it to negate opponent's effects. You can stop your opponent from attacking, or if you need to play defensively, you can equip it to one of your own monsters, and then they cannot attack over it. And then also, you can banish it from the graveyard to special summon a Phantom Knight from grave. So if, like, let's say I normal summon Tour Guide and they negated it, I can banish this from the graveyard to special summon a Phantom Knight from grave and still go into the Dante.
Yeah, card's so good.
Right? Then we main decked 2 Typhoon.
Oh my God. Nice. Pendulum players were sad.
Because, again, I knew Draco and Pendulum were going to be one of the biggest turnout of the tournament. This could pop their scales, or if you feel like they're going to already have more than once of the same scale, you can wait for them to try activating their Electromite, and then they target their scale. Then you activate Typhoon, and they lose it. And then they can't Pendulum summon, and now they also lost their draw.
Yeah.
Then we main decked 1 Phoenix Woman Blast. I was trying it at 2, but if you draw more than 1, it's pretty bad because it takes a card out of your hand. Even though the effects almost every card you discard activates, I just figured 1 was good just to help with disruption.
Yeah.
And then we had 1 Skill Drain.
Because it always takes skills to win. And if you drain it, they're losing.
No more.
For sure.
So you want extra deck or side deck?
You choose, man. It doesn't matter. Extra deck's okay.
Yeah, we'll go extra deck.
Extra deck's okay.
Alright, we got 1 Borolo Dragon. I want to say I only summoned him once or twice in the entire tournament, but when I did summon him, it was able to give me the problematic card that I couldn't get over, and then I was just able to attack for game. This guy really helped out a lot with making my hands a lot better. There was one time I remembered when I summoned this guy, I drew into Tour Guide, but I did already mill the Skarm for turn. So I would put the Tour Guide as one of the 3 targets back to the bottom of the deck, and then at the end phase, Skarm would just search it back out. But this guy made my bad hands into good hands almost every time I summoned him. Then my 3-link, I did Decode Talker, just because I just needed a 3-link. I didn't really make him that much, but he also helps with saving like your back rows from being targeted. You can tribute Dante or tribute, I had Fairy Tale Snow or a Phantom Knight or whatever, and then just activate their effect the next turn. And then we had the 1 Underclock Taker. I gotta say, other than Dante, and Beatrice, this was the guy that I made the most. As I was saying earlier, with Rhino and 1 other BA, because of this guy, you can make Beatrice.
And that's crazy.
And then also when I was playing against, I want to say it was Draco, I couldn't get over something, but he had Masterpiece out. He already used the effect, and he summoned it out with traps and spells. So I used this with my Beatrice on board and made his and drained it down to minus 2,500 attack, so 450.
Rip.
Pilgrim, this is your Beatrice target most of the time. Then Virgil, there was a couple times I brought him out with Beatrice, but you can also bring him out with your 1 Rubik that you play in the deck if you get D-barriered. Then because you're playing Phantom Knights, you play Break Sword, and this is your rank 4 target for when the Phantom Knights come back with their +1 level. Beatrice, playing Burning Abyss, you gotta play Beatrice.
It's at 1 for a reason.
Yeah. Then MVP, Dante.
The guy that keeps butt dashing the ban list, bro. It's
right.
That card was insane still.
Then the one break sword because you're playing Phantom Knights also helps to get rid of problematic cards on the board. One Acid Golem. Most of the time when I summon this guy, it was against Draco. If I got him to bait out their Masterpiece effect, I would usually summon this guy out and then attack over the Masterpiece because he's usually unaffected by spells or monster effects.
Monsters.
Nightmare Shark, I want to say I only summoned this guy out once or twice throughout the entire tournament, but every time I summoned it, it went for game.
Heck yeah, just like the old school days.
Right? Then last card, Mech Quipped. If you've already used up your Beatrice, this adds more disruption during your opponent's turn. If you have like Rhino or Farfa underneath it, you can switch to defense, and let's say you target himself, he will not die for the rest of the turn by destruction, and then Rhino or Farfa is or Rhino will go into Farfa to disrupt their plays.
Yeah.
And then that's it for the extra deck. Side deck did one Sphere Mode. I wanted to do two, but I just couldn't find room to put in a second one, and then I was already running Kaijus, so I figured I didn't really need too many tributing. When I used the Sphere Mode, it got over when I played against Pendulum. They went first, and I told them to, or no, sorry, I'm messing up.
Yeah, it's been a long 2 days, bro.
So when I would go, if I knew I was going second, I would side this in if I won game one, and then my opponent, he set up his board with his 3 negates or whatever, and then you just summon that, and then you special summon your BAs. So even though you lose your normal summon, as long as you draw your BAs, then you're okay. Then you should be good.
Yeah.
Then 2 more Magical Springs. This card has just won me so many games today against Pendulum. My first game, it was actually against one of our locals, our Vegas locals. He had 2 scales out on board, and then the was that spell card, the Pendulum Graph or whatever it is? Star Pendulum Graph.
Yeah.
So he had 2 scales, that card, and then 1 set face down.
Oh my god.
I special summoned Rubik, the tuner, and then 1 other BA, and he activated D Barrier.
Oh, and then you chained.
And then I chained Magical Springs. So I got to draw 4 and discard only 1.
Oh, that's savage.
And then I still, since I had the tuner, I went into Virgil, and I was able to get over his board with the cards I drew and the Virgil.
Cool, baby.
Then we got the the 3rd Cosmic Cyclone. I'm main decking 2, and then here's the 3rd one. Dark Hole for board wipes. Then for more back row hate, Twin Twister. Then main decked, sorry, not main deck, side decked 3 evenly matched. I thought for sure I was about to win game in top 8 because of this card, but my opponent, when he had the field spell Diagram, and then he set a card, he activated Diagram, and I chained Typhoon. I had this in my hand. He set 2 more back rows and just passed. So I'm over here thinking like, okay, I have evenly matched. I'm about to get rid of 2 of his back rows. We're in the and he activates Imperial Iron Wall.
Yeah, that card's insane.
And then I just proceeded to lose game 2 from there.
Yeah.
Then D Barrier, if I'm going first against Pendulum, side deck 3. Usually you win if you activate the resolve the D Barrier and you just have a Beatrice set up on board.
Definitely.
Strikes, almost same reason against the Pendulum. They lose their Pendulum summon, or if you need to get rid of their Electromite. And then Heavy Storm Duster, 1 card destroys both scales, or if you're playing against a back row heavy deck, destroys 2 back row.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. All right, and then that's the deck.
So what's any shout-outs you want to give, my friend?
Let's go ahead and do some shout-outs to the whole Vegas crew. We actually had like, I want to say about 5 or 6 of us made it to day 2 and then top 32.
Oh my gosh, nice.
Right? Shout-outs to Brian Marks, he's owner of the store at our locals. All of the Vegas players for all the practice to help me get ready for this tournament. My teammate Tyson also helped me practice, get some stuff that I needed to make the deck the way I need to be.
Alright, that's it. Hey man, we have to give you mad respect for playing something super different, not Draco or Pendulum, so you are officially the Rogue Warrior right now. Hashtag Rogue Warrior right here. This guy is a god. Hey, congrats on the top 8, man, and thanks for the deck profile.
Anytime. Thank you.